Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to recommence activities in the main arena here today for the Purina Pro Plan Sydney Royal Dog Show. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to ask you to welcome our esteemed guests, His Excellency General the Honourable Sir Peter Cosgrove, AKMC retired, and Lady Cosgrove. They are joined by the President of the Royal Agricultural Society, Mr. Robert Ryan, and his good wife, Suzanne. Their Excellencies wish to participate in this new inaugural award for Canine Heroes. Every year, amongst our canine friends, hero dogs emerge that have unique stories or have made outstanding accomplishments. This may be in helping people, bravery, or transforming lives in adversity. They may be pet dogs, assistance dogs, therapy, defence, service, or rescue dogs. The common factor is that these remarkable dogs and humans transform and enrich each other's lives. The Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales has this year introduced a Canine Hero Award, aiming to acknowledge and reward these deserving dogs. The two categories in which members of the public and service can nominate is in a service award and in a companion award. Would you please welcome our two winners of these two awards? Firstly, the service dog from the New South Wales Police Force, Ulrich, the German Shepherd. Where is he? And our second award winner today from the assistance dogs is Mrs. Charlene Mead with her Shetland sheepdog, Brooke. A little bit of history about these two inaugural winners. Ulrich, German Shepherd, nearly 3 years of age, joined the New South Wales Police Force Dog Unit Breeding Program. After participating in his development program, he commenced his novice general purpose work and successfully passed that. In doing so, he got his own page on the New South Wales Police Force Dog Unit Facebook page and has a great following. Since his accreditation, Ulrich has been involved in numerous incidents where he has not only provided his handler with protection, but has assisted police with locating items of property that were either used in the commission of an offence or proceeds of a crime. Ulrich has assisted in apprehending suspects and assisting in the location of missing people. Recently, last year, Ulrich was deployed to an address in the northern areas of Newcastle to assist in the search for an 86-year-old person suffering from a medical condition. The person had been missing for 3 days and volunteers were assisting with the search. Ulrich commenced the search whilst on a walking lead and walked towards a fence line which was not far from where the missing person was last seen. Ulrich has then dragged his handler down a ravine for about 50 metres, where he has located the missing person laying on his stomach at the bottom of the hill. Ambulance officers were directed to the missing person and treated him before conveying him to hospital. Ulrich has developed into an outstanding police dog and is worthy of this nomination. Congratulate Ulrich. Our second winner today is Brooke, owned by Mrs. Charlene Mead. Mrs. Mead has been a paraplegic from a very early age, and now at a very young 84, she lives and depends heavily on her wheelchair and her two dogs. Last year, and in her words, She was walking her two Sheltie dogs, Brooke and Piper, in Centennial Park. It was a cool autumn afternoon, and trees had been losing their leaves. It had been raining heavily in the previous days, so the ground was soft underneath. The trees and leaves, the leaves from the tree underneath the oak tree became very soggy and muddy, and Charlene came to a sudden stop with her wheelchair wheels spinning without any traction. Brooke, who is now 12, has learned to bark whenever Charlene calls out. So she called out to try and get attention from anyone, but no one was around. Then she saw a family, a group of people sitting at a picnic table about 100 metres away. She waved and called out to them, and usual Brooke joined in, barking as loud as she could. But this went on for about 15 minutes or so with no response. Then Brooke, sensing this and without any other training, realised that he had to do more. Brooke eyed off the picnickers, stopped barking and marched off towards them. She stood just near their table and kept on barking until one of the men looked up and saw Charlene waving in the distance. So he gave her a cheery wave back. "Oh dear," said Charlene, "what do I do now?" Well, Brooke knew what to do. He then continued barking, and for the very first time that she had ever noticed, Brooke retreated back towards her, continuing to bark. The person was obviously confused a little and surprised until realised that something else was up. Brooke took the signal from Charlene, dropped to the ground, and the man kindly came over to investigate what was wrong. When he found out the difficulty that Charlene was in, with darkness approaching, he rightly commented, if it hadn't been for your clever dog, you may have been stuck here for a long, long time. So please congratulate Brooke for assistance.
I'm going to call them out.
I would now ask His Excellency and his good wife, Lady Cosgrove, to present the awards. The service. I would now ask the President of the Royal Agricultural Society to say a few words.
Am I meant to be speaking, or is Michael meant to be speaking?
I thought it was you.
I'm just thanking everybody.
Yes.
Purina. I know, I left it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance and support. And to Purina, our major sponsor, your contribution is fantastic. But to the Governor-General and his wife, thank you both for coming down here and acknowledging the dog area during the show and domestic animals in general. Thank you all for your support, all the exhibitors and all the participants, all the judges and officials, and to Wayne Burton, our Chairman of Domestic Animals, congratulations to you, and Deb Harton, our coordinator, for the job you've done. And the rest of the committee, well done, and thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. We'll give you a clap to go the same way you came in. Ladies and gentlemen, just a few more awards to present today, as we usually do at the Sydney Royal Purina Pro Plan Show. We have today someone that all the exhibitors will be familiar with, celebrating 25 years service as a steward here at the Sydney Royal Show. I'd ask our President to present the award to Mrs. Rhonda Ralphs for 25 years service. Stay here. We also have, as a tradition here, we recognise exhibitors who have supported the Sydney Royal Show over many, many years. We have 3 award winners today. Firstly, would you please welcome Mrs. Debbie Lebrun. Whilst we're waiting for Debbie to come, the second recipient is Mr. and Mrs. Hessian with their Golden Retrievers. Please welcome them. It's Mr. Hessian and daughter. Our third nomination is Mrs. Lainey Knox. A brief summary, the Hessian family began involvement in dogs in 1963 when they purchased their first Golden Retriever. They've imported a number of dogs and consistently been in the winner's circle, making many grand and supreme champions as well as multi-best in show winners. The family have been involved in breed and all breed clubs as judges, stewards and supporters of the Sydney Royal, and have been involved 30 plus years supporting Sydney Royal. Well done. Mrs. Lainey Knox. Ashlaren Kennel was founded in 1983 by Lainey and her daughter Rachel Stock. Their first Weimaraner was bought primarily as a companion pet for the family, but they soon developed a keen interest in the show ring. Winners of Best in Show at Sydney Royal in 1992, and continued to breed Weimaraners that excel in type and temperament, and winning many major awards. Lainey and family have been involved for 25 plus years supporting the Sydney Royal Dog Show. Well done. And we're missing Debbie Lebrun, but briefly, Debbie has been in West Highland White Terriers. Debbie? No. West Highland White Terriers in '64, an inaugural member of the West Highland White Terrier Club. She's been a very strong supporter of the Sydney Royal Show and for a total of 32 years exhibiting here. Thank you all to those 3 long-term exhibitors. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to commence the end of the process, but I need to just briefly reintroduce our judges today. Firstly, our General Specials Judge, Dr. Anuka Palahomo. Himo. Mr. Jeff Korish from the UK. Mrs. Anne Karlström from Sweden. Mrs. Brigitte Svasted from Sweden. And Per Svasted from Sweden, but he's lost. On behalf of all the exhibitors here at the show, I just wanted to thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come to Sydney. Glad the weather wasn't too bad for you, and I hope that you've enjoyed your time here. So thank you very much on behalf of all the exhibitors.
Everyone in Europe, in dog world, knows Sydney Royal Show. Every judge dreams of having the chance to come to this show to judge. And we 5 are lucky to have had the chance for 11 days to show, to see your lovely dogs and the atmosphere, which is very special. I wish to thank the Purina sponsoring this event, which is one of a kind in the world. Nowhere can you have dogs for so many days linked with all the other aspects of nature, agricultural beauty in all forms. I wish to thank all exhibitors for taking their placing and wins or losing moments with grace. And I want to thank the volunteers, all the stewards, for the work that they have put on these days, because very many people don't realize how much voluntary work, how much pre-planning and effort and endurance it takes to accomplish this quality of a show. Special thanks to Wayne Burton for making this all possible. Thank you very much. And then she gives her speech.
Who was it? Who was it?
Michelle Hugo.
Just lastly, ladies and gentlemen, all of this show, as you well know, is not possible without all the volunteers and judges and workers and exhibitors, but primarily to our major sponsor, Purina. Could you please welcome Michelle Hugo from Purina, Nestlé Purina, to say a few words.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today to celebrate the great achievements and successes over the last 12 days. I would like to thank all the exhibitors, the breeders, the competitors, and the public for their continued support of the Purina Pro Plan Sydney Royal Dog Show. This show is a celebration of the dogs in our lives. It's a great platform to educate the people on all the different types of purebred dogs that are available. And it allows you to make great choices that match your lifestyle if you are considering owning a dog. There's been over 190 breeds, close to 4,200 dogs competing, and today it's coming down to who is the #1 dog in the show. Today is celebrating the people and dogs who are the best at what they do, and we've kept a really close eye on the competition, and the passion, the dedication, the enthusiasm of everyone here is really inspiring. And amongst us today, we have the finalists of the best dogs in their groups. Over the last 16 years, Purina has had a great relationship with the Royal Agricultural Society, and we've worked really closely together to try to create the most prestigious, fantastic show in the country. None of this would have been possible without a huge amount of great work from a great number of people as I'm sure that you would understand. So thank you to the Domestic Animals Committee, the judges, the officials, the members of the Royal Agricultural Society and the breeders for continually building the Purina Pro Plan Sydney Royal Dog Show into the most prestigious event in Australia. Thank you to Katrina and the Purina team for ensuring that the breeder community has been looked after over the last couple of weeks. And thank you to our 5 international judges. I hope you've really enjoyed your experience here, and we've really enjoyed hosting you for the last couple of weeks. It's been tough decisions for them to make because there's been a really high calibre of competitors. So everyone who has made it here today should be really proud of your achievements, and I wish you all the very best. So in closing, Purina gives our heartfelt thanks and congratulations to the organisers and supporters of the Purina Pro Plan Sydney Royal Dog Show. Thank you for being here this afternoon, and best of luck to all of the competitors. Thank you.
Just before we start Best Breeders Group, Mr. Svasted's just getting ready and we're assembling the dogs. We have another sponsor for the Sydney Royal Purina Pro Plan show, Mr. John Bryson from Dog News Australia, whose sponsorship is for Fashions on the Field. I'll hand over to John.
Thank you, Wayne. This is a this is a section of the dog show here that's a little bit lighter, just before we get into the serious end of the day. It's for Fashions of the Field, and we've narrowed it down to 2. We've got Tracy Parker and Shane Avery, if they'd like to make their way out. These are the 2 that the judges have narrowed down. Now, Tracy, we'd like you to do a circle, full circle of the ring now together, with a little pirouette at the end. Come on, hold up, arm in arm, come on. Let's hear it for our winners of the 2016 Fashion on the Field. Straight back to me, straight back, straight line. Little pirouette. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to thank It Suits Me, who've been the sponsor for this award. Shane's now won a lady's suit. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for Fashions on the Field.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we'll recommence with the Best Breeders Group, judged by Mr. Per Svasted.